Ooh, later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
Hannah Green etched her name into the Wilshire Country Club history book by successfully defending her title at the JM Eagle LA Championship presented by Plaspro and earning her fourth straight top 3 finish at the historic course. Will 2025 be the trifecta? We'll soon find out as Green returns as the number 5 ranked golfer in the world. The 2025 JM Eagle LA Championship is set to take place April 17th through 20th at El Caballero Country Club in Tarzana and will also assist with LA fire relief and recovery efforts, meaning anyone affected by the Eaton and Palisades fires and first responders will receive complimentary admission. It's my pleasure to now welcome Hannah Green to the show. Miss Green, a pleasure to have you on the show tonight. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Growing up in Perth, Australia, was there a moment, was there an incident, something which might have happened in which told you early on that golf was going to be your life's work?
I'll be honest with you, I feel like I kind of started golf later and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it for a profession. It wasn't like a calling in a sense, or I've heard players say, when they were 5 years old, they knew that that's what they wanted to do. And I don't think I was like that at all. I feel like I'm kind of like a late bloomer in a sense. I went to the 2015 US Women's Open, and that was kind of when I was like, okay, I need to become a better player if I want to do this for a living. And I guess that's kind of the moment that I remember where I was like, yep, I want to do it. I really want to become a professional golfer.
Did you have a personal role model, a person who took you aside and said, okay, Hannah, I see some talent in you. Let's see if we can develop this. Was there a person who was real integral to your development?
I guess I've been fortunate that I've worked with my swing coach since I was about 13 years old. So, 15 years now. And I think he was kind of someone that I saw as guidance, and whether he thought that I would be able to make it on the LPGA tour. And, my parents were a huge supporter of that as well. I decided to go with the professional route and not actually do any university study. So I guess a little bit of a risk in a sense in that way. But I also had Kari Webb as a mentor as well. She was really helpful with, just telling me what tour life is like, because, that's a whole nother battle in a sense. Trying to play golf is hard, but, traveling, 30 weeks of the year is also difficult. So I had a lot of people that really helped me early in my career as well.
Someone like me, I can understand when you say the term like swing coach. We can, in an abstract sense, understand the travel and the grind. But what about the mental aspect of the game itself? Yes, you train yourself for the physical. You train yourself for different situations and different lives. But what about the mental aspect?
Yeah, I think it's the toughest thing about it. I think, we played a tournament in Arizona last week, and I think the winner was at 22 under par, and I shot 10 under par and it came about 40th, but it was just because I didn't really putt very well. And I think I was just getting frustrated that the putts weren't dropping like perhaps they were for other players. So it's definitely a mental game for sure. And, all of the players on the LPGA are so talented. They hit it dead straight. They hit lots of greens. And at the end of the day, putting is the last thing that gets the ball into the hole. And so it's such a mentally draining sport. And I don't think people understand it until they try and play golf for themselves.
I understand people will have an off day on their jobs. You were talking about having an off day putting or maybe an off day driving. But what are some of the factors which may go into that other than your mind wandering or you're not feeling your best? Or is it just random?
It's sometimes it can be random. Sometimes you can go into your pre-round warm up, hitting it great, putting it really well, and then you go out there and you get the complete opposite, or the vice versa. You warm up and you're hitting it not really that great, not really feeling that good with your body, and then you go out and play some of the best golf of your life. And I think that's what makes golf so tricky is you never, even when you think everything's going really well, it sometimes isn't. And, not only are you trying to beat the course, but you're also trying to beat 144 players to win the trophy at the end of the week. So there's so many different factors that can play into golf. And I think that's why all of us are sometimes crazy enough to do this for a living is it's every day is a complete different challenge sometimes. And I've said to other people before, I don't know if I could just play one golf course for the rest of my life. I like that every week we have a new challenge and a new golf course.
You seem to be pretty adept at beating the challengers and beating the course when it comes to the JM Eagle LA Championship presented by Platts Pro, which is going to be at the El Caballero Country Club in Tarzana coming up on April 17th. You're going for the trifecta. Why do you think that course has either been so good to you or such a good fit for that course?
Yeah, I guess it's maybe a little bit of both. California's been really good to me. I've had some really good results, not only at this championship, but other events we've played in San Francisco and in California. So I feel like I just am in a really good mood when I'm here. It sounds really silly. Sometimes it's just harder at other events to switch on like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenge. But, with a new course that we're playing this year, it could be different. But I hope that I don't put too much pressure on myself. I obviously would love to have a three-peat, but I also want to make sure that I don't get too ahead of myself and, put myself out of contention in the championship.
Please now take me on the course. You may be in a group of 4 golfers and you may go through your round. Is there any type of talk? Is there any chatter, either respectful or even trying to get in your head? Is there any type of very quiet trash talking, maybe in the clubhouse where they're trying to get you off your game? Is there a game inside the game?
Probably not so much at our level. Australian humor is very different. I feel like we kind of take the mickey out of one another. We try and give each other. I feel like if you're friends with someone, you'll also give them a bit of crap every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some banter, as we call it, off the course, but I wouldn't say there's anything ever on the course. Some girls will have maybe some games amongst one another, but I feel like that's kind of a rarity. Most of us kind of just stick to what we know and try and play the round. And, people will talk to one another on the golf course, but it's just usually friendly chat. Where are you staying this week? Are you playing next week? Just things like that.
In my introduction, I said how anyone affected by the Eaton and Palisades fires and first responders will receive complimentary admission. I know you had a press conference some days ago and you made an announcement as well along those lines.
Yeah, I did. So I guess growing up in Australia, we've faced many fires in my lifetime. I've been very fortunate that it hasn't affected me personally, but, seeing or hearing the stories, I guess, of the destruction that it still has caused to a lot of families. I think everyone kind of has not really maybe spoken up about it since the fires have obviously been burnt out. But I pledged to, donate $500 for every birdie that I make throughout the tournament week here at El Cab. And so I haven't actually seen the golf course, and I do hope that I can make 100 birdies for the week. But yeah, I hope that I can, somehow give back to the California community.
What type of greens do you prefer? What type of fairways do you prefer? Is there anything that you're looking for or hoping for when you step on El Caballero?
Yeah, so I heard that they did a renovation about 4 years ago, and so they've changed to bent greens, which is what I've grown up in Australia. So I'm grateful for that, because typically in California there's a lot of Poana greens, which can prove quite difficult in the afternoon conditions. So I'm just intrigued to see what the course is like. I've heard it's obviously a really difficult course, a very good championship venue. So we actually played, or the LPGA played back in 2002 to 2004. So we haven't been here for some time. So there obviously has been some changes, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going out and see the course, and yeah, just hopefully put on my best performance.
Last question before I let you go, Hannah Green. I've enjoyed this conversation with you. You've been pro for the better part of, maybe 7 years or so. Do you recognize yourself still getting better beyond just performing better on the course? What are your internal markers that you are improving at your craft?
I would say the average tour player's career would probably be maybe around 10 to 13 years. So I guess I'm coming towards the middle to the end of mine. So I'm just wanting to make sure that I'm still really motivated to, become the best player in the world and, go through all my processes. And, I've been very fortunate to have some success, but I'm still really hungry for more. And hopefully I can have my name etched on more trophies. But yeah, it's tricky. The level of play is changed so much in the 7 years that I've been here. Every week it seems like someone else could win. It's Nelly obviously dominated last year and she won, I think, 7 at tournaments. But I don't really know if that will happen this year. We've had 5 events so far, and we've had 5 different winners. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the year goes. But yeah, it's really challenging, and there's a lot of talent coming through.
The 2025 JM Eagle LA Championship is set to take place April 17th through the 20th at El Caballero Country Club in Tarzana, and also will assist with LA fire relief and recovery efforts. As you've heard, anyone affected by the Eaton and Palisades fires and first responders will receive complimentary admission. Hannah Green, twice defending champion, thank you for coming on the show tonight, and we wish you nothing but success.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's
Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I was just bumping around the internet, as I'm known to do. And I look at some of these concoctions that these places will come up with. And I like to go to Subway. And this is not some sort of paid endorsement. I'm just saying I like to go to Subway. I was just looking at my sizzle reel on my YouTube page, and I was like 35, 40 pounds heavier. No exaggeration. I lost like 35 pounds during the pandemic. How did I do it? I went the Jared route without the exception of the criminality. And I lost a lot of weight during the pandemic going to Subway just about every day because I still like to have taste. And that was before I knew all the stuff that was being put in the bread and all the controversies. And I was like, why does the bread taste so good? Because there's so much sugar in the bread. Nonetheless, I like Subway. When I was just looking during the news break, Subway has revealed a new Footlong menu item. And next week, it's free for fans. Subway's latest menu item is crunchy, cheesy, and 12 inches long. Doritos Footlong Nachos. Which says to me that Subway's not trying to... They've removed all false pretenses of somewhat healthy food.
Forget about Eat Fresh.
Right. That was it. Eat Fresh.
Yeah.
Foot long nachos.
That's almost, that's like Taco Bell level.
The $5 footlong snack, available starting today, pours out a bag of Doritos nacho cheese chips. The chips are topped with cheddar cheese sauce and shredded Monterey cheddar cheese, chopped tomatoes, onions, pickled jalapeno slices, and a drizzle of the Sandwich Spots Baja Chipotle sauce. Well, I do like that. That's good. Customers looking for a punch of protein, because, you know, you're trying to eat healthy. Customers looking for a punch of protein can add rotisserie-style chicken or steak at no additional cost, or pay extra for a scoop of smashed avocado. A foot-long... Oh, my gosh.
I think they're trying to get into the stoner game, because that sounds like something you'd order at 2 a.m.
But see, the thing is, Subways, there was one 24-hour Subway I did see in Torrance at the corner of, I think it was
It's
Lomita.
Ocean.
No, it's like Lomita and
Ocean, I think.
No, it's not that far. It's going the other direction.
Oh.
It's like Hawthorne and Lomita, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, because I know another one in that area.
Okay, yeah, they're not that many. But outside of the 24-hour ones, they close it usually around 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I have never in my life thought of getting a foot-long tub of nachos from Subway. Now, if I were at the movies or something, okay, yeah, all right. But if I'm going to Subway, I've been conditioned through all of their advertising that it's healthy adjacent. You can put on all the toppings and it gets less and less healthy. But the whole point was, to your point, their marketing was eat fresh. Now they might just say eat garbage.
Eat like Beavis and Butthead.
It's like, wow. I was like, woo.
You know, I'd try it.
It doesn't, from the pictures I see, it doesn't look appetizing to me.
I mean, I hate myself, but I would still try it.
But see, that's to both your points. I think we'd all try it, but you don't go there thinking I'm going to get that, trying to be healthy.
If you've been paying attention, Subway has been moving further and further away from the whole health conscious presentation, because if you look, they've had the footlong cookies, the Cinnabon churros,
Health food.
Auntie Anne's pretzels,
Yeah.
and meat and cheese wraps called dippers. And they also have the Footlong Oreo cookie.
I forgot.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. It does sound good though. Doesn't sound healthy, but it sounds good.
Yeah, they're steering away.
I've really been restricting my diet. You guys may not know this, but I cut out a lot of the meat. This may be too much information, but I've been dealing with arthritis in my hips, and meat and sugar will really aggravate my arthritis. I've narrowed it down. So I've cut back on the meat, especially red meat, and I've cut back on the sugar. Like, you haven't seen me with any type of donuts or anything like that. And thank goodness Dick Poliokini hasn't brought me anything.
That's some good willpower. Maybe Subway should change their motto from Eat Fresh to something like Be Pear-Shaped.
Well, there's no Subway around here anymore. They used to have one on Riverside Drive about a mile up, and that closed right by the Chipotle.
Oh, believe me, we're in a food desert around KFI.
No, there's nothing around here. Well, there's a Chick-fil-A. As far as branding, there's a Chick-fil-A,
Wiener Schnitzel,
and there's McDonald's way down Olive.
Yep.
And there's what's the place? The chicken strips, Raising Cane's, on the way to that McDonald's. But that's about it.
Yeah, because everything closes before we're done.
Everything closes. Even Morton's downstairs,
They're done.
They're done by like 9:00.
Yep.
And before the pandemic, they would stay open till like 10:30, 11, at least on the weekends. Now they're open from maybe 4 to 9 or 5 to 9. Not long at all. So there aren't a lot of places. So when I say this because when I come into work, I usually bring my lunch/dinner with me. And it used to be, to tie all this together, I would stop at the Subway on Riverside Drive, or I would stop at the Boston Market on Riverside Drive. Neither of those are there anymore. I don't like Chipotle as much, but I'll get it every now and never. I haven't been to the Wiener Schnitzel in at least 7-8 years.
I've never been, and I want to go. And it looks like you need, to plan a full day around that, including a trip to the hospital. Like, there's some deal where you get 4 chili dogs for $4 on one of the days of the week.
Oh my gosh, you bring back such memories. I used to go to the Wiener Schnitzel, and I would get 2 chili dogs and 2 corn dogs. You can't beat the taste. I swear to you. I swear on my life. It is some of the most luscious, succulent garbage you could ever taste.
You are not kidding.
And how did it make you feel afterward?
Like garbage. I was like, tasting it is wonderful. The next day, it's almost like a food hangover.
Like a hangover.
Yeah, because your body says, "What in the hell were you thinking?"
Yeah,
you're not 25. My body can't even digest that garbage now. But don't get me wrong. If you put 2 chili dogs and 2 corn dogs in front of me, I'm going to eat them.
I think at some point before we come into work, we need to get like the 4 chili dog deal and bring it in here. And then, we're all going to need a shower together.
Yeah, just let nature take its course after that.
There you go.
Yeah, but there aren't many food places to eat around here. So you end up settling now. Mark knows this. I'll usually go to Whole Foods and get a salad or something, or I don't know, some salmon or something like that. Oh, I forgot. I'll go to
that fish place.
Yeah,
California
Fish Grill.
There you go.
And I'll go there, but it's not. It's kind of out of the way. I have to pass a job and then come back.
And also, you can't go there after work.
No, you cannot.
All that's closed.
No.
Whole Foods and California Fish, everything's closed.
I need to have some sort of meal before I do the show, or you start running out of gas. I can't sound at 9:00 like I'm falling asleep or I'm getting tired because you started the show at 7:00. You haven't eaten lunch or dinner. That's why I usually bring my food with me and I eat in the hours leading up to the show. I may snack during the show, but that's about it. But seeing this Subway new, I can't even call it a sandwich. It's a thing.
You can get it now though.
Starting
the
today.
Okay, we got
starting today. The Doritos Nacho Cheese Chips. It's just chips. It's like there's no bread. It's Footlong nachos.
Oh my god!
That's what I'm saying.
And you supply your own vape pen.
Is it really not even a sandwich?
No, I swear to you. I swear to you. Just go ahead and Google Doritos Nacho Cheese Chips, and it's a tub of nachos. It's a foot-long tub of nachos.
Sweet Lord. Yeah, that's not even...
There's nothing consistent with the whole idea of Subway.
Nope, not at all.
They should just change their motto to Subway, F it. We gave up.
F it. Yeah, after Jared, we just don't care anymore.
It's like, who's fooling anyone at this point? our chicken is not really chicken.
Our tuna's not really tuna.
Our bread has a whole lot of sugar in it. Why don't we it's almost like they got married and let themselves go.
Yeah.
It's like we just don't care anymore.
I will admit that I was the guy who ordered the tuna sandwich with the tuna that it was so soupy that it was drinkable.
Hey, I was the guy who would get those chicken breast patties that really wasn't chicken. As far as I'm concerned, it was chicken.
What was it? Like the same kind of stuff as the yoga mats?
No, I think it's like the 50% chicken and other stuff.
Yeah, because
okay.
I remember, I don't know if it was Subway specifically, but there was that commercial that made that joke about putting the grill marks on the chicken to make them look like they were grilled.
It was Subway.
Okay.
They had the grill marks.
There you go.
And it clearly had not been grilled. Yeah. Well, I'm hungry. Who's going to get me food?
Yeah,
that's right.
we need some of
Everything's
those
closed.
nachos.
It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. When we come back, we'll tell you how the government has banned government personnel in China from romantic or sexual relations with Chinese citizens. That's too bad.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
There's some things that I would just say, duh, I would assume to already be the case. When you're at Disneyland, keep your hands and, inside the ride at all times. Make sure you put on that bar so it clicks. You just do that. When you're driving, you're not supposed to be looking at your phone because it's unsafe. At the same time, I didn't know that the government heretofore had not, but now has recently banned American government personnel in China, as well as family members and contractors with security clearances from any romantic or sexual relationships with Chinese citizens. That just seems like duh for any number of reasons. You could easily be compromised and put in a compromising situation, which could be used to leverage you against the American government. If you work for the American government, and you can assume that if you're in China, not only are you being surveilled, but you're a potential target to be used in an espionage way, maybe even against your will. It's probably not a good idea if you go hook up with the Chinese honeypot.
Okay, Mo. Okay. I hear all that flowery sense that you're talking, and it sounds really good. And yes, we know that's what we're supposed to do. But you cannot, under any circumstances, tell me before your dedicated and steadfast married life, while traveling abroad, you did not want to try out some of the local cuisine.
Look, one time in Spain.
Okay.
But I was not a member of the U.S. government.
And
There's a difference.
And okay, so let's go with the government.
And we're still friends on Facebook to this day.
I want you to also remember what goes down at both the DNC and the RNC when it comes to getting your freak on. Married politicians getting their freak on like it's Freaknik for the government.
It doesn't matter. It could be the DNC. It could be the RNC. Any big convention, they bring in the talent. But this is just, garden variety, just working abroad or whatever, anytime, anywhere. I assume that if I'm in China or Russia, for example, or actually any place abroad, and I am working for the federal government, but especially in those high surveillance areas, I'm assuming, even though I've never been to China or Russia, I would assume that I am a potential target. If I work for the federal government, they're going to send some things my way.
You've got to know that. You've got to know that. But that does not mean that you're always going to be thinking with your cabeza. You may be thinking with your cabeza.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm just saying. No. I know why there are certain things which you say are common sense, okay? Yeah. Don't poop on the bathroom floor. It's common sense, right? Yeah. There's toilets in there. There's certain signs in the bathroom that say, please wash your hands. That's common sense, right? But
common sense ain't all that common.
Right.
I'm with you, and maybe I'm jaded, if only because working in the music industry, I look at things in a quizzical way. Like I would say, put it this way: I was never the guy to go to a strip club, and I've been to a bunch of strip clubs to think that the stripper was actually into me.
No, but you know what you have seen? You have seen record programmers thinking that the stripper that you have helped to secure for their consideration
Statute of limitations
of certain records that I've seen them, and I see them, and they think in their minds, this girl loves me, even though there's a whole row of them standing in a line trying to wait to see who gets to the finish line first, and they think, but I was the one that they like.
I know.
Men are stupid folk.
We are stupid folk.
We are stupid folk, and I can see why the government had to say, hey, man, keep it to yourself when you are abroad in a country like
They're
this.
basically talking to men. I'm quite sure it happens with women, but probably less often with women.
Yes.
We're the ones that are dumb. We are dumb. You put a beautiful woman in front of us, bat her eyelashes a few times, we're all of a sudden in love and say, I think she's digging me.
Oh, yeah.
She said hello to me.
At the bar after work. Right across from where we work at in the federal building.
Imagine being in China, you're working and you go to a bar afterward, you have a drink, just one, and the most beautiful woman walks up to you as a man and shows interest in you. It's not difficult.
No.
We are a simple creature.
Yes.
Just show us a little attention.
This message is obviously put out for Robert or Joe or whoever is out there who's, into all type of madness right now, who they said, you know what? We're going to have to draft a policy and make it official because they can't keep it in their pants over there.
And we know how well that always works.
No, I don't think it's going to stop anyone, but at least people cannot claim ignorance or say that it's not against policy.
China, though, the problem with having sex in China is hour later, you always want more.
Oh, Mark Rodder. Mark
We got our video guy laughing too. He's dying out here.
And starting Monday, you'll be able to see a joke like that live on our YouTube channel. See him gear up to lay that joke out in our individual responses and collective responses at Mr. Mo Kelly
and
for the
we
YouTube.
Apologize in advance.
Man, you apologize. We ain't doing nothing. You said that. The YouTube simulcast of Later with Mo Kelly starting on Monday. It may not be every day, but it's going to start on Monday. And whatever happens, happens. A moment just like that, you get to see all of our responses as it happens, for better, for worse, more likely worse. You get to see it's unscripted, unplanned, unprepared,
uncouth,
unacceptable. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and on Monday, YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly. Might as well sign up now. Look for us then. But when we come back, we'll talk to George Norrie and I'll have my final thought. And it's going to be not me, but some of your favorite voices. What? You'll see or hear.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and on Monday on YouTube at Mr. Mo Kelly, MrMokelly. You better get in line now. So sign up and you can subscribe to the visual component of the show at Mr. Mo Kelly on YouTube. Live show coming on Monday. But right now, let's get ready for Coast to Coast AM, that show with George Norrie, who joins me now. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Kelly, we got another great program tonight. We're going to talk to one of the world's foremost remote viewers. Later on in the show, how to find your soulmate on Coast to Coast.
Can't wait. Always the best part of my ride home. Thank you, sir.
Be careful. See you later.
All right. Always careful. It's the world that I worry about. And tonight, the show started a little bit differently than usual. Usually it's like, ha, jokes, all sorts of fun. But tonight was a little bit different because earlier today and throughout the day, it was a heavy moment. And maybe you didn't believe me. I was saying we were living through history, what happened with the stock market, with the tariffs, what might be happening in subsequent days. If you've been following Dow futures, the stock market has continued to go down even after the closing bell. This is a very significant moment in our nation's history. And I said that there will be responses from other countries. I know that France has announced in the recent hours that it's going to stop all investments and future investments in the U.S. pending some clarity on what the U.S. is going to do going forward. And there'll be other responses from other nations. This is, I would say, the end of the beginning. We are just getting into what these tariffs are going to mean. But tonight, I wanted to close out the show just a little bit differently as far as how I talk about these issues. And it's not going to be my voice. It's going to be the voice of maybe someone that you more respect, someone that you more appreciate, someone you more revere. And these are just a few voices who articulate an opinion both past and present, which I think are relevant, remarkable, and needed right about now. The first one I wanted to play for you, this is Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, and this is from today. And he's responding to the mayhem and the chaos which was going on in our financial markets. He's made it clear that he hasn't been a supporter of the tariffs, but this is what he had to say given what was going on.
If President Trump is successful in reducing tariffs in other countries, I'm going to say amen, praise the Lord. But if he's unsuccessful, I'll say, I told you so.
That's Senator Chuck Grassley. And if anything you can extract from that is that he's making it clear that he tried to provide wise counsel to our president. That's Senator Chuck Grassley. That's not me. Here is our present Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. But he wasn't obviously always Secretary of State. Back in 2016, he was running for president and then an opponent of then candidate Donald Trump. This is what he had to say about tariffs.
I think we need to be very careful with tariffs, and here's why. China doesn't pay the tariff. The buyer pays the tariff. If you send a tie or a shirt made in China into the United States and an American goes to buy it at the store and there's a tariff on it, it gets passed on in the price to the consumer. So I think the better approach, the best thing we can do to protect ourselves against China economically is to make our economy stronger.
That's what Senator Marco Rubio, now Secretary of State, had to say back in 2016. The next voice I want to play for you is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. This is from just days ago.
With regard to tariffs, let's be very clear. Tariffs are simply taxes. Tariffs don't punish foreign governments, they punish American families. When we tax imports, we raise the price of everything, from groceries to smartphones to washing machines to prescription drugs. Every dollar collected in tariff revenue comes straight out of the pockets of American consumers. Conservatives used to understand that tariffs are taxes on the American people. Conservatives used to be uniformly opposed to raising taxes because we wanted the private marketplace, the private individuals, to keep more of their income, so we were always for lower taxes. And yet now the mantra that's coming is we want higher taxes. What happened? Did we all of a sudden give up all the things we used to believe in as conservatives? I, for one, haven't. I still think more taxes is bad for the economy. More money taking out of the productive sector, the private sector, and giving to the government is a mistake. To those who still call themselves conservatives, but now support tariffs, let me remind them that Milton Friedman said, tariffs raise prices to consumers and waste our resources.
That's Kentucky Junior Senator Rand Paul. Now here's noted economist and historian Thomas Sowell.
It's painful to see what a ruinous decision from back in the 1920s being repeated. Now, insofar as he's using these tariffs to get very strategic things settled, and that he is satisfied with that. But if you set off a worldwide trade war, that has a devastating history. Everybody loses because everybody follows suit, and all that happens is that you get a great reduction in international trade.
This is a very famous economics teacher. You might have heard him before.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone, raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
That was, of course, actor Ben Stein, playing the economics teacher in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But it was relevant to today. And the last voice I want to leave with you is, well, he doesn't really need any introduction.
For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing. And today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery. You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports.
For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.
The more you know, the easier it is to avoid the idiots around you.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio.